So I would love to show you, it's not my final thesis in the CCC, but this is the question that passionated me for the last 2 years. So I'm thinking about narrative leadership and what does it mean in the digital world. Because digital world is all around us, yeah, and it's, we should embrace this change, and it's difficult sometimes. And the first thing I would love you to think about is what is digital for us? What is it? How do you feel it in your life? Do you have any ideas, any thoughts, any reflection of it?
For me, the concept of digital starting to disappear, and it's just becoming a tool. It's the way things happen with life and business.
So it's a new reality.
I'm sorry?
Is it a new reality?
Yes.
Okay. Any other thoughts?
Excuse me, can I ask you to repeat that question again because we didn't catch it? What is digital what?
Yeah, what's your opinion about the digital? What is it? What is it nowadays? What is the digital age? What is the digital era? What are we living in? Is it a new reality, or it is kind of new tools that we should learn how to use?
We are transcending to be controlled by algorithms. Because we have, as I was walking to here, rather than people looking at the direction they were going and remembering their journey, people were looking at their mobile phones to find the direction.
So in that connection, should we stimulate our kids to spend more time in the digital world, the same as we stimulate them to read the books, yeah? Or should we restrict them?
Well, it's a new. It's sure you can choose that anymore. To be honest, having children, and my husband has got grandchildren, and kids are from very, very young age working with tabs, and their whole life is now interwoven with digital. It's from my perspective, it's no longer a tool. It's like a pervasive entity, which is developing not just algorithms, but developing an intelligence to a certain extent.
Okay. Any other ideas?
Yeah, so it's different ways of, I think they said it too, of communicating, I mean, of way of being, actually.
Well, for me, and I'm not a digital person at all, I think for me it has changed from being simple tools for that you can use in your daily life or in your work to something that's actually transformative in itself. Could be scaling some solutions, good solutions, could be many other things, but and that tends to surprise me, what it can actually do.
Okay, great.
For me, it's a new interface. So instead of paper or television screen, it's a computer screen or a telephone screen. So.
Thank you.
For me, it really changed life in that sense that I'm more at home. I'm working a lot from home. This didn't exist 10 years ago. So in that sense, it's something which is really changing my life.
Okay. And all that life, should it change our way of communication, what do you think? The way how we communicate?
Well, it's happening.
Yeah.
You know, but I continue to give books to children and encourage them to read. Because I'm certain that it'll be a most valuable asset to them when they mature.
Reading. And while they are reading, what is that? What is it reading? What they are getting in?
They're thinking as well.
They are thinking, yeah.
And they are creating.
Okay. And when in the digital world, what they are doing there? Are you
Just looking at stuff.
Just now.
And by
Taking
just looking,
information.
by really just using your eyes, you ignore your fantasy and creativity. If you read something, then you have to create the image in your own head. And that's why I read an article. It was about how should we educate our children in the future. So what is really the added value? Should we really just educate them in dealing with these things, or should we more educate them in preserving their creativity by being able to communicate, by being able to sense things, so that we work with our how do you say, with our other senses effectively. Yeah.
But I think it's important also not just to see the negative things with it. I mean, they have a total different way of collaborating. You know, the way that they collaborate with schoolwork, totally different than what we did, which I find positive.
I think we're, especially when you look at young people, there's a sense in which people are no longer communicating. There's loads of stuff, but there's not real communication as in actual connection with others.
You mean they are communicating but in a different way?
Well, I would say I don't call that communication because it's just words on a screen.
Yeah.
And
But isn't it the
when you
communication?
see these young things sitting there next to each other, all of them on their phones, I mean, are they actually doing anything together? I mean, are they actually connected, really connected with each other? That's one of the things that concerns me. The other thing is that information is all on a level, and my concern with my kids is that they're losing, or they don't have what for me is absolutely essential, which is critical thinking. They're not able to filter what is useful and true information, or what is an interesting perspective from anything else.
Thank you.
It's all on a level.
Just building what Frank and Rachel has said, like in organization now, the principle of working from home, that's increasing. So you lose the touch of building communities at work, building teams, of having human interactions and dialogue and collaboration in a more of an effective manner. So again, I understand that working from home can be more efficient, more productive, whatever, bring talent to the table that you cannot have them inside the setups or the physical setup. But however, it makes, like again, organization loses the human relations and the communities building that's essential for culture building, and so it has its impact.
So you'd love to say, yeah. Ladies first?
Sorry. I think we're having lots of different conversations now about what it is and what it isn't, and how it impacts children, and how we should be with our children as parents. And what I'd like to say, I've got a 5-year-old and a 7-year-old, and I watch them. And my experience of their experience is that when they are on, they call it technology, whether it's a screen, whatever screen it happens to be, they are in receive mode more. I see them explore less than when they have a book in front of them.
Yes.
And it's a really, I think it's our responsibility to help them navigate what I'll call our world, which was a world of books before we sort of learned mainly through the internet and through screens, and also be open-minded enough to learn about their world and to learn about, let's call it, the digital age and the tools as well. I still use a paper and a book, especially if I'm doing a lot of interviews, because I don't think that using a screen is good for that relationship. On a personal level, I still believe in face-to-face communications. But I have to say, I'm looking at either an iPad Pro or a Lenovo Yoga because I really want to use the technology to improve my productivity and be able to make the notes in a human way, but have it all transcribed quickly so I don't have to spend hours transcribing and typing up. The one thing, as far as my kids are concerned, is we used a very old book published in '77 about explorers the other day, and the experience was so much more of a learning experience for my 7-year-old, turning pages quickly and having all of that which somebody's curated into a book than it would have been if he'd have just gone into Google and put in a couple of explorers. He'd have just got a limited answers back. I don't know whether, I suppose where I'm going is, maybe somebody can help me. Have we learned how to explore the web as well as perhaps we need to be able to?
Yeah, but the verb is learning as well, so as far as we challenge it, try to improve.
Yeah.
So the very interesting thing that you said here is that, there are two worlds. Our world that we are living, we used to live, and the new world that is really our children will live in. And it's a very nice thing to do is to know more about that world that is coming.
But it takes effort.
Yeah, it takes effort.
I think it would be interesting to ask the same questions to a younger group.
Okay, we will conclude because there are a lot of interactions. Yes, and we will talk a lot about it. All will be about communication. Okay, so in this presentation, what I would love us to do, we will talk about fairy tales and tales that are living with us through centuries. And that's the amazing thing, that the fairy tales that we are using to tell our kids are more than 5,000 years old. And we are doing it all for all those centuries, do not changing even the tales, even the slight things in it. And that means something. Then we'll talk about inspirational talks that influence change. Then we will talk about fairy tales of today, places and people who are creating those fairy tales, a new approach to the public narratives. And then we will have a discussion with the help of you, because I don't have the answer to this question. What is the future of corporate culture and corporate leadership role? Okay, so, and I would love to start with the words of my favorite author, it's Mr. Tolkien, who says, the beauty of the fairy tale is its ability to help the person fulfill himself as a creator. He does not comment on life, as they say today. Instead, to the best of his abilities, he creates the secondary world. Yeah, which means that when you are creating a story, a tale, or whatever, or a picture, nobody can say it is right or wrong. It's your vision of life. But when you are commenting about, like, did you see something on the BBC yesterday? What a bullshit, or what a great thing. Then there will be somebody in the audience who say, I totally disagree. According to my opinion, it's different. Then we have argument. So creating story or a fairy tale or whatever, it's a very safe place where you can do whatever you want. Does the giant exist? Yes, they are. Does the dwarf exist? Yes. In your creativity, it might be. Yeah. So whatever you say in even your personal life story, it's your creativity. It's how you see your life. Yeah. And nobody can say no. That's totally bullshit. It's not like that. It's how I see the life. Yeah. That's it. Okay. This is my favorite picture. Look at this, yeah. Yeah. We can stay here for hours, yeah. So what, 70,000 years ago, somebody, first human beings, left the cave, searching for the better life. And it developed a lot, and especially what makes the person survive is his ability to communicate. And to share the experience of the previous generations to the future ones. What I would love you to speak in pairs, probably, is to thinking from the middle one. Yeah. So I think this is the hunter who's standing like that. Yeah. So how the communication changes to all the other stages up to the last one, to the digital. Yeah, the one who is going back to the cave, from my point of view. So what's happened with the communications in all those stages? Can you do just a short talk, like 5 minutes? Yeah?